Hey there, my friend, Silouan. I have been in the middle of binging, although binging would be the wrong word because I've been watching them as they come out. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, sort of the Game of Thrones prequel, and it is not what I expected, or I think most people did. The adventures of Dunk, Sir Duncan the Tall in Egg, the future king when he was a little boy. I don't want to give too much away about the plot of the show because I want you to be a little bit surprised if you see it. But one thing about it that has stuck out to me is that the sort of vibe of the show, and from what I can gather, the vibe of the Martin books that they were based upon, is that in the midst of horror, you can still find goodness. And goodness is seen in Dunk, the knight, and Egg, his squire. And there's no sugarcoating it. It is old school goodness. Open doors for women, take care of the weak, okay? Use your strength to make the world around you a better place. And it's so refreshing because Lord knows we need more of that. And it got me thinking watching it. Man, I would love to see a movement of young men, young women, and their primary focus, I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna make my world a better place. I'm gonna take care of people in a good way, in a chivalrous way. You know, you think of the Middle Ages and you think of knights, it's a long period of time. You know, from approximately the early 400s to about 1500. And in many ways it gets a bad rap, okay? And it's really easy to look at a big, I mean, think about it, that's almost 1,000 years. We've only been a country for not even 300 years. And so it got me going on this rabbit hole. You know, what was the goodness of a knight? You know, because obviously they probably did bad things, did a lot of bad things. And one thing that was interesting to me, and it also shows you how historically, how quickly we connect dots that don't exist because the information doesn't exist. It's really hard, even though the knights existed, you know, pretty much that whole time. It is really hard to find the Knight's Code because, again, I don't give too much away, but there's a couple of instances in A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms about the Knight's Code and the code they give and what it means to be chivalrous, and it's like this official thing. And really, when you look and you research it, there's really not a lot of this is the Knight's Code. Like, it's hard to find, and it's very non-code-like, so to speak. And so I went down this rabbit hole to try to find some, and basically the most famous one, they're not even really sure of it as an actual Knight's Code. So it's called the Knight's Code, and it's from Mallory's Pentecostal Oath. Pentecost, Christian date, from the 15th century, and it's about King Arthur. So, you know, did King Arthur exist? Maybe, probably not. But obviously all that's based upon what was going on at the time. And in Mallory's Pentecostal Oath from the 15th century, okay, it talks about what a Knight of the Round Table was sworn to, okay? Now I'm gonna give you a couple of versions of this. And I'll give you the one in the actual Old English from Mallory's Pentecostal Oath. It's kind of interesting reading Old English, like it's nothing like English. But basically it came down to this. What was a knight sworn to do? Number one, do not outrage or murder, flee treason and avoid betrayal, show mercy when mercy is asked instead of cruelty, give aid and protection to ladies, damsels, and gentlewomen, never fight in a wrongful quarrel, not for law and not for world's goods profit. Renew the oath annually at Pentecost. Okay, pretty simple. Just do good, protect people. Okay, now here's the original text, which took a while to find. And at some point, I'd actually like to find the actual books because I'm definitely, and don't trust everything you read on internet mode lately. And it's really written really weird. The king, spelled K-Y-N-G-E, so I don't even remember, the Kinge stable shed, all his knights, and charm them never to do outrage nor Mordor, and always to flee treason, and to giff is spelled G-Y-F-F, mercy, unto him that asketh mercy, upon pain of forfeiture of their worship and lordship of King Arthur forevermore. And always to do ladies, damsels, demoiselles, and genteel women succor, upon pain of death. And death is spelled D-E-T-H-E. Also, that no man take no betrayals in a wrongful quarrel, for no law, ne for no wordless goods. And to this were all the knights sworn of the Table Round, both old and young. And every year they were sworn at the high feast of Pentecost. Now, another modern English translation of that, what I just read with a little bit of difficulty, that King Arthur commanded his knights never to commit outrage or murder, always to avoid treason, to grant mercy to anyone who asks for it, always to aid ladies, damsels, and gentlewomen, and never to fight in a wrongful quarrel. And they were sworn to do this every Pentecost. Now, what do we, so many things came from studying this. One of them was this: what do we really know about the Middle Ages? If you ask the average person, Middle Ages, what do they see? They see castles, they see kings, they see knights, okay? They imagine like all these stories, and like a focus of that, obviously, think of the Crusades. Think how big Crusades were in history. Yet, we can't even really find a completely accurate, this is what made a knight a knight. Now we have generalities, but again, when you start going on rabbit holes, I found a whole series of oaths of a knight, and it turned out almost all of them were modern translations or modern versions of them that were put in modern books talking about the Middle Ages, that when you went back to where they all came from, they came from this, King Arthur's Knights of the Round Table. And, King Arthur probably didn't even exist. Now, if that's how quickly we can get from probably what the truth in something is, something I talked about the other day, kind of a side note right now, how quickly do we get away from what's real in our world today? How quickly does technology set itself up as I'm telling you the truth, and it's far from the truth? Now, again, you can find what's supposedly a medieval code of a knight that is some modern dude's made up of what he thinks it was, from King Arthur, who is a literary character, you would imagine based upon what knights and kings were doing at the time. But that gets seen as like some kind of truth. And think about what I talked about on a previous podcast about how ChatGPT made up something that it said was published in the New York Times. To the point, the New York Times had to sue them. I think it was Perplexity. Had to sue them because Perplexity made that up, okay? Now, I'm digressing a little bit here because I couldn't help but think about that as I was trying to just look what I thought would be simple. Give me the knight's oath. Give me the official oath that makes one a knight. And that you'll be researching for a long time to find out exactly what that is. And even then you're going to be like, I'm not even sure if that's exactly what it is. But still, I want to go back to my original thought, which is this. Can we just be good? Can we just be in a world where it's more about what we do to others than what we do for ourselves? Can we be a world where being strong is a good thing? Being able to take care of yourself is a good thing. Helping the weak is a good thing. Opening doors for people is a good thing. It's a good thing. And doing it with no expectation of pay. I think, one thing I've noticed as an entrepreneur, as a business person over the last few years, I think one result of sort of this like gig culture that we're in, and tipping culture, and people trying to make money on social media culture, everybody wants paid for everything. Everyone's like, I'm getting paid. I'll do that for you. What are you going to pay me? Everything. Whatever happened to just doing the right thing, expecting nothing? Whatever happened to like, little old lady across the street from me, can't get out there and remove her snow, so I'm just going to go do it for her. And she comes outside and she's all happy, and you're like, nah, we're good. You don't owe me anything. Whatever happened to that? Or some kids going down the sidewalk on their street, because you had a snow and they want everybody to go down it, and so they're just going to do it. Everything now is like, hey, Hey, you gonna pay me? You gonna pay me? There's no chivalry. And I think what's so sad, things happen in our world and it's like, we gotta treat everybody equally and blah, blah, blah. And we totally, I hate to use, cliched phrases, but we totally throw the baby out with the bathwater. Treating someone kindly becomes, like a negative thing. Being chivalrous, okay? Being strong, being fair, helping the weak, helping the poor, helping the widow. It becomes this weird kind of like, I don't know, like it's bad. Really? So it's better, it's kinder to just let someone fend for themselves. It's kinder to just always be like trying to get money from people, making money off your videos, give me attention. Like that's better. Instead of like building people up, you're tearing things down, you're burning things down, you're complaining about things. I don't know, man. Just can't help but watch a little Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, which, is a made up story. And watch old Dunk, whether, he's a little boy growing up in the slums and just trying to be good and just trying to get out of there, or whether he's a grown man and the easy thing to do would be to not stand up to the king and the powerful people and let a woman be taken advantage of. But he doesn't. He risks his own neck, okay, to take care of them. Maybe the world needs a little bit more of that. Maybe chivalry is not such a bad thing. I don't know. And then all of this took me back, to, when my wife and I were young and we had our first child. And I remember looking at him in the hospital and seeing how just pure and good and innocent he was. And just the contrast of that to just life in the world and how infected and perverted and cynical and angry and hopeless and selfish people become. And I looked at him and I thought to myself, man, if all we can do is raise him to be a good person who helps other people and is kind, man, we did a good job. And 25, 26 years later, that is the truth, man. That's the truth. That's the hardest thing you'll do as a parent. That's the hardest thing you'll do as a human being, but there might be nothing more important. Just make your go-to, make your way of life, make your first instinct, make your goal, make your movement of the day. Be good. Be good. Be chivalrous. In a world where Lord knows there's very few of them, be a knight. And that doesn't mean riding around on a horse and armor. It means taking care of your neighbor, helping the weak, standing up to the strong, following truth wherever truth leads, doing things expecting nothing in return except for the knowledge that you were good. So I'm Silouan. It's great to be with you. Maybe you'll go down a little rabbit hole about chivalry, knighthood, Middle Ages. Separate the good from the bad. Plenty of bad in the Middle Ages, don't get me wrong. And until next time, peace.